Well, there we go. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Well, that sucked, didn't it? Aaron Nagler here, coming to you live from Cheesehead TV on the social channels after a shellacking by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against our beloved Packers. Obviously started out well in the first quarter, going up 10-0, and then everything fell apart for old Green Bay, including their quarterback, their defensive coordinator, their offensive line. Hell, pick a spot. It didn't go well. So wipe that one, burn the tape. It'll be interesting to hear from a couple of the guys and Matt LaFleur later today. In the meantime, we're just going to sit here, drink our coffee, and lick our wounds. Good to see everybody in the comment section. Good morning. Good morning, Chad. Fernando, hello. Take me back to the first quarter. No doubt. His defense always cracks in these physical games when he gets no pressure on the quarterback. He, obviously, meaning Mike Pettinen. Yeah, the passive nature of this defense continues to boggle my mind. We talked about it all offseason, mostly in relation to the running game and trying to be able to stop it. I said he would be the one having to make slight adjustments because clearly the general manager didn't bring in a whole lot of help. So far, it's been a lot of the same, and that's fine when you're scoring 30 and 40 points. But when you're getting beat up and you have no ability to kind of course correct and or take it to or dictate to the offense, you're going to have some trouble. Already got a couple super chats. I want to make sure I don't miss them. You know how it goes. Brian Price, thanks for the super chat. No shame in 4-1. A lot of ball game left. Chill, people. I'm down with that. I think that's a fair assessment of the season so far. What's the deal with a two-man rush on third down? Miscommunication? I'm sure Mike will be asked about that. Or the players involved will be asked about that. It sure looks like they have two defensive tackles dropping into coverage when possibly only one of them was supposed to. Makes me think that the call was made and one of those guys, and I suspect it was not. I would suspect Kenny probably got it right, but you never know. One of them self-identified as the wrong person, but we'll see. I am sore from yesterday's game. I wonder how Rodgers feels. How do you feel? Victory Monday next week. I'm tired. Just tired. Got home late. My girls were up, and they're always fun. So yeah, no, I'm just tired more than anything else. But that's a game you'd like to soon forget. No doubt about it. Arthur, thanks for the super chat. Do you think Rodgers forced it to Devontae too much? I know that will be a narrative. I don't tend to think so, just because forcing it would imply that he's eschewing other options when I think Devontae is usually the first option and in most progressions. So I don't think it's a question of forcing it to him. I will say it was interesting on that second one, the second interception, how good the coverage is there and how predetermined the throws seem to be. That does worry you a little bit. But on the first interception, on the pick six, that's just a great play by the backer. He's in a good spot. Rodgers just has a poor location on that football. If he puts it out, we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago on the Monday night game, comparing and contrasting Matt Ryan with Aaron Rodgers. In that game, it was about a throw to the sideline. They did it in the Vikings game too. And when Cousins threw his interception way too far inside. Traditionally, usually Rodgers gets those balls outside where only his guy can get it. And yesterday, he let it stick inside. Now, you can argue that maybe he was feeling something because of the pressure. Maybe his mechanics were off. They certainly went to shit as the game went on. But right there, it just happened to have a little bit off in the ball placement, and that resulted in the touchdown. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that he focused too much on Devontae because Devontae is often the first guy in the read for good reason. But yeah, like I said, that second interception sure looked predetermined. The throw did, and that's what worries you. Lots of level-headed people here today, I see. Mackenzie, thanks for the super chat. Why do you think Preston Smith just dropped off this year? I don't think he's dropped off. We've talked about this. I think he's playing fine. I thought he played fine yesterday when it came to the run game. Anyway, his physicality in the game is fine. He's just not winning one-on-ones and getting on the stat sheet and getting close-ups because he's made a sack and then he gets to dance and blah, blah, blah. I don't think he's playing that much different than he did the last 8 games of last year. I really don't. The production just isn't there. And that is frustrating. And it certainly doesn't help against a team and a quarterback like Tom Brady who needs to get hit. That makes it frustrating. No doubt about it. Matt, thank you for the super chat. I take the blame for the loss. I had to stop watching the live stream after we went up 10-0 right before the pick six. I'll be better next week. Well, Matt, there you go. I mean, I don't even want. I wish you would have let us know that you were leaving, so we could have just, shut down. Be better, man. Be better. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Got to lose 3 to go 13-3. Bad weeks happen. It's true. I mean, it is interesting though how many people are quick to jump on the way they lost and how similar it was to last year, and they always want to try and find corollaries or causation or big sweeping announcements as to this is how the Packers lose under Matt LaFleur. And I understand that. I understand that you look at last year's kind of shellackings that they took out in LA to the Chargers and then out west to the 49ers and think, okay, there's a theme here. I'm not necessarily convinced that that's the case. Anyone who has played Madden online for any length of time knows that there are certain opponents, certain types of opponents that give you trouble, and you have trouble getting on track, so to speak. And you heard Aaron Rodgers talk about it after the game where he said even when they were having success and going up 10-0 in the first quarter, they were doing a lot of that off schedule. They never got in a real flow. Tampa had a really good plan. And we talked about it all week long about how the pressure was going to be there and the Packers had to be able to counter it. And I, for the life of me, will never understand the offensive game plan coming into that game. Whether it was running wide on probably the fastest, most athletic linebackers they're going to face all year, when the opponent is without their best interior defender in Vita Vea, you saw once they used the motion and Jamal Williams ripped off the largest run against Tampa in the whole season. That's how I thought they were going to go about it from the get-go. And they never really kept probing that. They kept trying to get outside, which kind of blows my mind. And then you look at the crossing stuff that was kind of working earlier. I thought we'd see a lot more of what they did against Minnesota. Lots of bunch formations because you knew they like to play man. Those young corners are real handsy. They want to get on guys at the line of scrimmage. So get those bunches and then run across or underneath to beat that pressure. I thought we'd see all of that. And we didn't see any of it. So that kind of, again, much like the trips out west last year, just the game plan, the approach just didn't make sense to me. Now, these guys have watched more and know more football than I've forgotten, or forgotten more football than I know, I should say. And I'm sure they have their reasonings, but to me, it's really mystifying. So, yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because then we got to spend all week picking at this thing, and no one's going to be more frustrated than the guys in that locker room, than the coaching staff, everyone in that building. So it's going to be a fun week. Mackenzie, Josh Jackson filled in pretty good for King. Your thoughts? I thought so. I thought he played okay. Certainly had his rough moments. That DPI was tough. That's his old bugaboo, right? Getting hands on guys, holding guys downfield. It's been his problem since he came in. Certainly doesn't seem like it's going away. But yes, for the most part, I thought down in, down out. He played a pretty good game. I'm really anxious to go and watch it again, but we'll see. All right, I wish our cornerbacks would get handsy. Well, Josh does and gets called for it. But I hear you. I mean, those two interceptions, look where those corners are. That second interception, look at how the corner is playing Devontae. And tell me you have seen that anytime recently with our guys. It was funny because the one play where Jair got beat yesterday, the one big one to Evans, look how they work Evans open. They motion him into a bunch so that Jair can't get up on him. And then, oh, look, he's got a free release and gets Jair turned the wrong way and then breaks out to the outside for a big gain. So where was that for Devontae? I'm never going to get over this game plan. Nathan, thanks for the super chat. I was wondering and only able to see a few plays at a time. My impressions, Rodgers didn't react to the blitzes. Not enough pass rush. Need King. Agree. Yeah, Rodgers came apart, man. I know LaFleur is always going to defend him. Rodgers is never going to admit it, but that second pick after it all went downhill after that. And to his point, to Rodgers' credit, he was right in the sense that, he was off schedule on a lot of stuff early, even when they were having success. They never got into an offensive flow. And as the game went on, he was looking at the rush more and more. There's a play, I think it's the one to Aaron Jones, or maybe there was a deeper shot up the left where they went back and showed a replay of Aaron staying on his read, right? And then all of a sudden he looks down and is ready for the rush. That isn't there. And he's just kind of, oh, okay, oh, there's no rush. And then he throws it. But because he's come off the read, the timing is off and he misses the throw, or it's a little late. And those are the things that you saw that last year with McCarthy, sometimes last year, where his eyes start to drop and he starts worrying about the rush. And look, I get it, man. When Ndamukong Suh's waiting to put a cheap shot on you, yeah, you're going to worry about the rush. I'm not dismissing it. I'm not belittling it. I'm not, excusing it. It is what it is. I mean, in that situation, he started to get worried about the pressure. It would have been nice to have Tom Brady worrying about pressure, but we wanted to sit back and rush 2 and 3. What else we got? Oh, there's another super chat. Another super chat. Hear me out, says Kelvin. Hear me out. Could we be missing Lazard more than we missed 17? With 17 back, defenses will focus on him. Lazard allows us to mix things up. Well, there's nothing stopping you from mixing it up with Devontae out there. Hell, we could just go back and look at the Lions game when he completed 3 passes to Devontae, but they still spread it around. Now, that said, I totally get what you're saying with Lazard out there. It does give them a lot of mixing and matching opportunities, and they can do some physical stuff with him in the run game that he probably can't do with the other guys, certainly not MVS. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm not so sure that that's a real thing. Fair to call for Pettine's firing. Good morning. I don't know if it's fair, but I'll understand if those calls start coming. I mean, because look, it's all well and good to have an opportunistic defense that can get after the quarterback. This defense has been neither after it was both last year. And as I said earlier in the chat, all offseason, we talked about the fact that very little was done as far as reinforcements go, right? You knew Pettine was the one who was going to have to adjust at least a little bit to improve on the defensive side of the ball. And right now, this is a defense that doesn't get turnovers, doesn't rush the passer, and doesn't even defend well in the red zone. Another thing they did really well last year. And they have just gone to shit. So 5 games in, do you fire Pettine? I doubt it. Would I understand if I woke up tomorrow and there was that headline? Probably. This team is too good and too talented to be sitting there getting walked over because they're playing 12 yards off and not rushing the quarterback. I'm sorry. Now that said, there were plenty of times where guys were in positions to make plays. Whether it's Gary raking on Brady's face mask or Adrian Amos letting a ball that should have been an interception go right through his hands. There were times when guys were in position and they didn't make plays. And that's not on Mike Pettine. He put them in position to make plays and they didn't make them. But it just seems fewer and fewer instances of real even a semblance of a defense that will help. I don't even want the defense to change the tide. I don't even need the defense to take over. I just need the defense to stop the avalanche for a little bit. And we've seen time and again. Look, go back. Everyone's comparing this loss to the Chargers game last year, which, again, I'm not so sure that fits. But let's look at that. Because last year in the Chargers game, Mike Pettine's defense actually kept them in it for the entirety of the first half. They did that by turning the ball over and being great lights out in the red zone. Well, again, this year, we're not turning the ball over crap in the red zone. So I don't know if that's strictly on Mike Pettine, but he's the man in charge. And if you need different results, maybe it's time to make a switch. Don't ever forget, he's not Matt LaFleur's guy. He inherited him. So we'll see. Nathan, how did EQ do? It's still euchre season. Oh, man, he looked rusty. Rusty, to be sure. He missed a RPO where Rodgers went to him backside, and Rodgers was clearly frustrated. And then he had another ball go off his hands. I didn't really see him in the run game. I think he only played a handful of snaps. I think he played 10 or 11 snaps. So, but yeah. Jerry Gray season. I mean, maybe it's Jerry Gray season, but Jerry Gray's secondary is the one playing a fucking 100 yards off on 3rd and 2. I don't know, man. I don't know. Arian said they got Rodgers confused, and 12 never gets confused out there. You could see it. Well, I think they definitely got him confused. I don't know if he never gets confused, but yeah, Todd Bowles had a fantastic game plan. You knew what was up. I'd love to see the Buccaneers in the playoffs, though. Give them another shot. LaFleur said, practice like crap, played like crap. Yeah, it's always interesting how we had a bad week of practice stuff always comes out after a loss. Sometimes guys will say, it wasn't a great week of practice, but we played well anyway, but always after a loss. You think they could go after Dan Quinn next year? I mean, sure, there's history there, right? LaFleur was on his staff. It's a possibility. Not so sure. I mean, it depends on personnel. Run that Legion of Boom style cover 3 thing. I doubt it. What else we got? As a fan, it's hard to understand why the play calling doesn't change to quick pass or stretch plays when we're getting murdered up front. Yeah, well, I mean, I think they saw some of the quick pass stuff get blown up by Tampa Bay. You know, that initial drive when they tried to hit Jamal Williams in the stack. Yikes. Yeah, the stretch, I understand wanting to run the ball. I mean, that's a fantastic run defense. It's the first in the league for a reason. And if you're running zone stretch, and they did almost hit one with Jamal there when he got taken down kind of from behind. It looked like he was about to bust it. But he also did have the great run up the middle. And look, I don't think you're going to run it up the middle every time and get huge yardage, but that's where you should have been attacking. That's where they should have been attacking if they wanted to run the ball at all. That kind of blows my mind. Nicholas, thanks for the super chat. Are we in trouble if Bakhtiari is not available? I mean, Bakhtiari is the best in the business, so you're always going to take a step back. I'm very interested to see if Bakhtiari is unable to go, if they move Elton Jenkins out to left tackle, because I thought Rick Wagner was way in over his head at left tackle. It's a fine right tackle, but left tackle did not bode well. So we'll see. Maybe they put Elton at left tackle and move Billy back into guard and put Rick at right tackle. I don't know. We'll see. Let's get some word on Bakhtiari first before we go down that road. Make sure I didn't miss any more super chats. Game plan changes with Devontae back and not good. Steve, I mean, it's only not good, quote unquote, because they didn't execute. Whining, but it's annoying when the bye week advantage really is a wash when the Bucs had about the same amount of time off. Who cares? Got your ass kicked. Doesn't really matter. Nathan, thanks for the super chat. I was watching the greatest game special on the Bills-Oilers 1992 comeback game. Didn't know Jerry Gray was on that team. He's all over the place, man. He intercepted a pass from Randy Wright back when I was a kid. I think it was the very first game of Lindy Infante's illustrious career in Green Bay. Jerry Gray's been around forever, dude. J.K. Scott's pants were at the highest of heights on that last punt. Let's laugh a little. Dude, Corey lost his mind. Veldy retired. He did indeed. People can make excuses for Brady when he has a bad game. Rodgers has a bad game and everyone says he is done. What a stupid mindset. I haven't seen anyone say Rodgers is done, but maybe because I've muted all the idiots on Twitter. But yeah, Rodgers had a bad game. It's okay to say it. I mean, as for the Brady comparison, who cares? I mean, ultimately. I feel like a defensive talent is most definitely there. So does the problem fall more on the player's effort or on the coaching? And that's something they're going to have to unlock, right? I don't think for a moment that they're as talented, say, as the top 5 defenses in the league, but I think they've got way more talent than they're showing at the moment. To me, it ultimately comes down to coaching. Jamal had some good pass pro, but that one that blew up on him sucked, but Jamal had to make a choice of one rusher or the other. Yeah, I mean, that happens, especially with a team that has got a high blitz rate like the Bucs do, and Todd Bowles always has. I mean, if you keep coming after him, eventually you're going to get him. I thought Jamal held up fine. Jeezy Baby, thanks for the super chat. On to Houston. Most sensible thing I've heard all day. And with that, I'm gonna get going. I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out here after a demoralizing loss, but watch the tape today, then burn it, and then on to Houston. Can't thank you guys enough for hanging out. Please hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. It ain't over yet. 4-1. Go Pack Go.